In the fertile cradle of Lebanon's Bekaa Valley, where empires have on, for more than 9 millennia, this has been a sacred crossroads, a place known to Phoenicians, Greeks, and Romans. They called it Heliopolis, the city of the sun. But beneath the veneer of its Roman grandeur, a far older and more profound secret is etched into the very bedrock. It was not until the 19th century that Western scholars began to peel back the layers of history here, and what they found challenged the very foundations of their understanding. At the heart of the complex stands the Temple of Jupiter, one of the most magnificent sanctuaries ever erected in the Roman world. Yet its splendor is a mere echo of the power that lies beneath it. The temple rests upon a podium, a platform constructed from blocks of stone so colossal they beggar belief. Here we find the Trilithon, 3 monolithic limestone blocks, each measuring approximately 19.5 meters in length and over 4 meters in height. Their estimated weight falls somewhere between 800 and 1,000 tons. It is a mass that dwarfs our modern imagination, a weight equivalent to 3 fully loaded Boeing 747 airliners, or a herd of 166 African elephants hewn from a mountainside and raised into a seamless wall. Just 800 meters away, the ancient quarry holds its own silent council. Here, the scale of the operation becomes even more staggering. The famed Stone of the Pregnant Woman, tilted at an angle as if awaiting a journey that never began, weighs an estimated 1,000 tons. Deeper still, a block discovered in 2014 pushes the limits of possibility to their breaking point, tipping the scales at an inconceivable 1,650 tons. They lie unfinished, monuments to an enterprise so vast it was perhaps abandoned by its own creators. The precision is as mystifying as the scale. Using only the bronze chisels, stone hammers, and wooden levers of their age, these ancient engineers quarried and dressed the megaliths with an accuracy that modern machinery would struggle to replicate. The stones of the Trilithon fit together with such perfection that not even a razor's edge can be slid between them. No mortar was needed, only gravity and flawless geometry hold them in place. The known laws of physics and the recorded annals of history offer no easy answers. We are left facing not just a marvel of engineering, but a fundamental question about our own past. These stones are more than just building materials. They are a silent, enduring challenge to our perception of what is possible. A message from a forgotten age that speaks of ambitions as boundless as the sky they once sought to honor. Across the unforgiving contours of the earth, they lie in silent testament. Colossal stones hewn from the planet's bedrock and moved against the forces of gravity and logic. The fundamental question echoes through the ages. How did ancient hands, armed with primitive tools, command such monolithic titans? The answers remain shrouded, a landscape of competing theories born from the sheer impossibility of the feat. One vision is of orchestrated brute force, a portrait of human will on a staggering scale. We can almost hear the strain of 1,000 voices in unison, the crack of the whip, the groaning of immense wooden sledges dragged over a bed of rolling logs. Legions of laborers, or teams of powerful beasts, their collective strength pitted against a single quarried mountain, inching it forward across specially prepared causeways. It is a theory of sweat, sinew, and staggering numbers, a testament to a society that could mobilize and sacrifice on a scale almost beyond modern comprehension. Yet another school of thought points not to overwhelming force, but to the quiet power of ingenuity. Here, the hero is not the laborer, but the engineer. They envision vast earthen ramps, subtle magic of physics, of complex pulley systems and capstans, multiplying the strength of a few into the power of many. In this version of the past, the stones were not just hauled, they were finessed, lifted by a profound understanding of leverage and mechanical advantage, a symphony of ropes, levers, and calculated precision. Recent archaeology has begun to peel back the layers of speculation. Excavations unearth the faint ghosts of these ancient operations, the grooves of worn pathways, the subtle tool marks scarring rock faces, hinting at the use of immense levers and the taut, fibrous strength of ancient ropes. Each discovery is a breadcrumb, leading us closer to a highly coordinated, almost ritualistic process. And yet, even with these fragments of truth, the complete blueprint remains tantalizingly out of reach. The full scope of their engineering genius continues to elude us. Nowhere does this mystery loom larger than in the Bekaa Valley of modern-day Lebanon, at the site of Baalbek. Here the theories crumble against the sheer physical fact of the stones themselves. In the 19th century, the French archaeologist Ernest Renan stood before its grandeur, humbled. "In Baalbek," he wrote, "we find stones of a size truly astonishing, and their placement challenges our understanding of ancient capabilities." His words are not merely an academic observation. They are a confession of awe, a sentiment that has gripped every visitor for millennia, a wonder that transcends time. To delve into Baalbek is to confront possibilities that stretch the limits of conventional history. Some researchers turn their gaze upward, suggesting the entire complex is a map of the heavens. They propose that the site's precise alignment with celestial bodies reveals a breathtakingly sophisticated grasp of astronomy. The main temple complex, for instance, is oriented to greet the rising sun on the summer solstice, a deliberate architectural decision to forge a link between the earthly and the divine, to sanctify this ground with cosmic light. This search for meaning is enriched by the tapestry of local legend, stories whispered through generations that offer their own form of truth. They speak not of men, but of giants, or of divine beings who descended to construct these monumental platforms. As one village elder recounts, a story passed down from the dawn of memory, "Our ancestors tell of a time when the gods themselves laid these stones, their power beyond what any mortal could muster." Whether we interpret these tales as myth or metaphor, they reflect the profound, almost spiritual impact of Baalbek on the human imagination. They are the poetry of the inexplicable. The site itself is a palimpsest, a stone manuscript upon which successive civilizations have written their own histories. Phoenician foundations support Greek artistry, which in turn lies beneath Roman grandeur, later altered by Byzantine faith and Islamic power. Each culture left its indelible mark. The Romans, recognizing the profound sacredness of the location, erected their monumental Temple of Jupiter directly atop the far more ancient ruins, integrating the largest megaliths on Earth into their own grand design. This layering of history does not dilute the mystery, it deepens it, underscoring Baalbek's role as an eternal nexus of religious fervor and cultural exchange. In our own time, the tools of discovery have evolved. Advances in archaeological science offer new eyes with which to see the past. Ground-penetrating radar and three-dimensional imaging peer beneath the skin of the Earth, revealing hidden features without disturbing a single stone. They have uncovered a subterranean world of chambers and passages, suggesting that Baalbek's purpose was as complex as its construction, with layers of significance both practical and ceremonial. With every new discovery, the enigma of these ancient builders only grows. The stones of Baalbek do not offer easy answers. They stand as a challenge to our assumptions about the past, a silent rebuke to the arrogance of the present. They are a monument, not just to an unknown technology, but to a forgotten ambition, a worldview that saw fit to quarry mountains and align them with the stars. They are a silent testament not only to what was built, but to the boundless human spirit that dares to reach for the heavens from the surface of the earth. As twilight descends over the Bekaa Valley, the colossal stones of Baalbek cast long shadows, bridging the chasm between antiquity and the present. Here, in the heart of modern Lebanon, the ruins of Heliopolis stand as a testament to an ambition that borders on the incomprehensible. The last light of day bleeds across the sky, catching the edges of weathered limestone and granite, illuminating a scale of construction that defies easy explanation. These are not mere ruins. They are silent sentinels, guarding the secrets of a civilization that pushed the very boundaries of possibility. At the base of the great temple platform lies the Trilithon, 3 monolithic stones, each weighing over 800 tons, raised to a height of more than 20 feet and fitted with a precision that would challenge even modern machinery. Nearby in the quarry lies their even larger sibling, the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, a single dressed block of over 1,000 tons left sleeping in the earth. Their very presence is a question carved in rock, prompting us to reflect on the ingenuity and sheer determination of those who came before us. What force, what forgotten engineering could quarry, transport, and lift such monoliths into the sky? Historian and author Andrew Chugg has spent years wrestling with this enigma. He observes that Baalbek compels us to rethink the capabilities of ancient societies. The scale and precision of its construction challenge our most fundamental assumptions about what was possible in antiquity. His insights remind us that the story of the past is not a closed book. It is a landscape of profound surprises, where history often holds more questions than answers. Our exploration of Baalbek's mysteries is ongoing, a slow and patient dialogue with ghosts of engineering. Each new discovery illuminates a fragment of the past, while simultaneously casting new, deeper shadows of uncertainty. Were these monumental efforts a testament to human determination alone, a forgotten peak of Roman or pre-Roman genius? Or do they hint at a body of knowledge lost to the relentless annals of history? But this impulse to explain the colossal, to weave narratives around the impossible, is not confined to the ruins of human hands. It echoes across continents, where nature itself has sculpted enigmas that demand a story. Half a world away, under a vast and unforgiving sky, another monolith pierces the horizon. Rising majestically from the rolling prairies and pine-clad hills of northeastern Wyoming, Devil's Tower commands both awe and curiosity. This colossal pillar of igneous rock, soaring 1,267 feet above the Belle Fourche River, is not just a geological marvel, but a nexus of mystery, legend, and scientific intrigue. Its sheer, fluted walls and unique, almost artificial formation have captivated the imaginations of explorers, scientists, and indigenous peoples for millennia. The first official European documentation of Devil's Tower occurred during the late 19th century, notably by an expedition led by Colonel Richard Irving Dodge in 1875. Yet, long before their maps were drawn, the tower held a profound and sacred significance for Native American tribes such as the Lakota, Cheyenne, and Kiowa. They referred to it as Mato Tipi, or Bear Lodge, weaving it deeply into their cultural and spiritual narratives. For them, it was never a discovery. It has always been a place of power. One Kiowa legend tells of 7 sisters chased by a giant bear, its eyes burning with primal hunger. Fleeing for their lives, they scrambled atop a small rock and prayed to the Great Spirit for salvation. The earth itself answered their plea, lifting the ground beneath them, stretching it higher and higher into the heavens, beyond the reach of the enraged beast. The bear clawed fiercely at the rising striations we see today. The 7 sisters were carried safely into the night sky, where they became the stars of the Pleiades. As explorers and settlers ventured westward, they were astonished by this solitary giant. Standing 867 feet from its base to its summit, its strange, hexagonal columns and nearly vertical sides seemed otherworldly, a geological exclamation point on the vast, empty plains. Naturalist Henry Newton, part of that same 1875 Black Hills expedition, remarked, "Its remarkable structure, its symmetry, and its imposing height make it an object of wonder to all who behold it." Questions abounded. How did such a unique formation arise? What geological processes could create such an imposing and utterly isolated edifice? Geology offers a colder, yet no less wondrous explanation. A story of molten rock, an igneous intrusion pushed up from the Earth's mantle that cooled and fractured into columns, and of the slow, patient work of erosion over millions of years, which stripped away the softer surrounding rock to reveal the hard, phonolite core. 2 towers, then, on 2 distant continents. One, a monument to human ambition, its origins shrouded in the fog of history. The other, a monument to deep time, its origins explained by science, but still wrapped in the power of myth. As we continue to investigate, Baalbek remains an enduring symbol of human potential, while Mato Tipi stands as a symbol of nature's sublime power. Whether carved by human hands or sculpted by the slow, inexorable forces of the earth, these silent giants ask the same fundamental question. Confronted with the impossible, what stories will we choose to tell? The enigma does not reside solely in its colossal form. At its base, in the dust of the Wyoming plains, the mystery deepens. Fragments of unusual stone and perplexing artifacts have been unearthed, materials that geologists claim have no business being here, their composition alien to the surrounding landscape. A question hangs in the arid air. Could these be the last vestiges of a civilization lost to time? Or are they markers of phenomena that our current science has yet to comprehend? The very presence of this monolith is a challenge to our perception of the natural world, a geological exclamation point on an otherwise serene horizon. To comprehend its strangeness, we might look across the Atlantic to the shores of Ireland. There, the Giant's Causeway presents a familiar geometry. Some 40,000 interlocking basalt columns, a hexagonal pavement stepping into the cold sea. Both are children of volcanic fire, born from the cooling of magma. Yet where the causeway lies prone, a bridge to the waves, Devil's Tower does the opposite. It is an act of vertical defiance, a singular pillar piercing the sky, alone and utterly dominant. Nearby, the ancient Black Hills hold their own secrets, their granite bones rich with mineral deposits and shadowed by the weight of sacred histories. Just as the tower erupts from the flatlands, another monument emerges from those very hills, Mount Rushmore, its presidential faces a testament to human ambition, carved by hand into the unyielding rock. One, a work of deep time and telluric forces, the other, a work of dynamite and human will. Is it possible there is an unseen connection, a common thread of significance woven deep within the Earth's crust that links these monumental features? Modern geology offers a compelling, if measured, window into its creation. The prevailing theory posits that the tower is a laccolith, a subterranean intrusion of molten rock. This magma pushed upward into the overlying layers of sedimentary stone, but its journey was cut short. Before it could breach the surface in a volcanic eruption, it cooled and hardened deep within the earth. For millions of years it lay hidden, a secret kept by the land. Then, the patient, relentless forces of erosion, wind and water began their work, stripping away the softer sandstone and shale, grain by grain. What was unveiled was the unyielding igneous heart, a core of phonolite porphyry sculpted by its own cooling process into the towering columns we see today. This explanation, elegant in its scientific simplicity, does nothing to diminish the tower's profound allure. Instead, it frames it as a masterpiece of natural processes, a monument to the immense power and glacial pace of geological time. Yet not all are content with this conventional narrative. Where science offers a story of rock and time, other, more radical ideas take root. A persistent and imaginative theory casts the tower not as a volcanic plug, but as the petrified stump of a tree of unimaginable scale, a relic from a forgotten era when giants walked the earth. Proponents of this view point to its startlingly organic shape, its sheer verticality, and the columnar structures that, to a certain eye, resemble the fibrous grain of ancient wood. While this notion exists far beyond the pale of scientific credibility, the rock lacks any trace of the biological material that would prove such an origin. It speaks to a deep human need to find patterns, to see intention in the chaos of nature, and to believe that our world was once far more magical than we know. Adding yet another layer to its mystique are the persistent reports of the inexplicable. For decades, unidentified aircraft moving with impossible speed and silence have been witnessed, their appearances fueling speculation that the tower is more than just a geological wonder. In these stories, it becomes a focal point, a beacon for extraterrestrial activity, a silent landmark on an interstellar map. Ultimately, the tower stands as a monument, not to a single event, but to the very tension between the known and the unknowable. It is a physical certainty, a mountain of rock you can touch and climb, yet it is also a canvas for our greatest questions and most daring speculations. In its silent, fluted columns, we see not just the story of the Earth, but a reflection of our own enduring search for meaning in a world that still holds its deepest secrets close. Etched into the collective imagination, a colossal stone fluting rises from the rolling prairies of Wyoming. It is a geological anomaly so perfect, so seemingly deliberate in its form, the Dern folklore was cemented by the lens of Steven Spielberg, whose vision of close encounters of the third kind transformed this natural wonder into a mythic landing pad, a point of contact between humanity and the stars. The structure seems to vibrate with a silent question, echoing the sentiment of the great astrophysicist Carl Sagan. Somewhere, something incredible is waiting to be known. For those who stand in its shadow, his words resonate with a profound power. They look upon the sheer hexagonal columns of Devil's Tower and wonder about the possibilities that lie just beyond the horizon of our understanding. Could this geological marvel truly be what the legends and films suggest? A beacon, a landmark, a meeting point for intelligences far beyond our own. This sense of profound intrigue is not unique to this corner of the American West. Across the globe, in the heart of the Australian outback, Uluru shares a similar solitary grandeur and spiritual weight. Both structures erupt from vast, flat landscapes, dominating their surroundings with an undeniable presence. Both are the bedrock of ancient indigenous mythologies, sacred places where the veil between the physical and the spiritual world is thought to be thin. And both challenge all who visit them to contemplate forces far greater and far older than themselves. Devil's Tower stands at this precise convergence point, a nexus of hard fact and ethereal folklore, of empirical science and enduring spirituality. It is a stark reminder that our world is still brimming with wonders that defy simple, comfortable explanations. Whether one sees a natural skyscraper, the exposed core of an ancient volcano shaped by millennia of erosion, or a mystical structure steeped in legend, its power to inspire and to mystify remains undiminished. It embodies the timeless wisdom of Albert Einstein, who believed that the most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It is the source of all true art and all true science. But what if the line between a natural wonder that inspires myth and a myth that points to a forgotten wonder is more blurred than we imagine? In the year 2013, deep within the remote Shoria Mountains of southern Siberia, a team of explorers stumbled upon a site that threatened to shatter the very foundations of accepted history. Here, arranged in formations that screamed of intelligent design, were massive stone blocks, some weighing in excess of 3,000 tons. This was the dawn of a new enigma, the Gornaya Shoria megaliths, a discovery that could force a complete rewriting of the ancient human story. The expedition, led by the researcher Georgy Sidorov, pushed into a rugged landscape that had remained largely hidden and unexplored during the Soviet era. There, at an altitude of 3,600 feet, they found what they could barely believe: enormous stone structures stacked with a precision that seemed utterly impossible. Upon arrival, the team was confronted by granite blocks with perfectly flat surfaces, right angles, and sharp corners. Some of these monoliths towered over 140 feet into the sky, forming what appeared to be a colossal wall stretching for more than 700 feet. Individual stones, hewn with a geometric purity that defied explanation, measured around 65 feet in length and stood between 16 to 23 feet tall. These dimensions do not just rival, but utterly dwarf the most famous megalithic sites on Earth. The stones of Stonehenge and the grandest blocks of the Egyptaire. How could such immense stones have been carved, transported, and placed with such accuracy in this isolated, mountainous terrain? Sidorov's field notes contained a staggering speculation. Based on the weathering and surrounding geology, he theorized that the site might date back 100,000 years, pushing the timeline of monumental human construction deep into an uncharted and unknown past. It was a claim that, if proven, would mean that a sophisticated, powerful civilization existed tens of thousands of years before the dawn of recorded history. Devil's Tower stands as a silent sentinel over the plains, a masterpiece of nature that invites each generation to wonder, to seek, and to dream. The megaliths of Gornaya Shoria stand as a silent question. They are a challenge, a riddle written in granite on a scale that beggars belief. One is a wonder of geology that feels artificial. The other, a potential artifice that is so vast it has been mistaken for geology. Both remind us that the earth beneath our feet is an archive of mysteries, and that the story of our world and our place within it is a book with many missing pages. In the remote, unforgiving heart of Siberia, hidden within the Gornaya Shoria mountain range, lies a puzzle that defies the known narrative of human history. Here, titanic blocks of granite, some weighing an estimated 3,000 tons, are hewn with an unnatural precision and stacked to heights of 40 meters. They form walls and structures of an impossible scale, a silent testament to a forgotten age. This is not the work of nature alone. The hypothesis, while speculative, points toward a single staggering conclusion: an advanced civilization that vanished from the earth, leaving behind only these stones as their enigmatic epitaph. The megaliths of Gornaya Shoria echo the mysteries of other ancient wonders. They call to mind the colossal foundation stones of Baalbek in Lebanon, or the seamless polygonal walls of Sacsayhuaman, high in the Peruvian Andes, sites that have confounded archaeologists for generations. Yet even these legendary sites seem to pale in comparison. Gornaya Shoria stands apart, distinguished by the sheer, incomprehensible mass of its stones and its profound isolation. It suggests a mastery of engineering, logistics, and physics far beyond what conventional history attributes to any ancient culture. Upon closer inspection, the mystery deepens, twisting into the realm of the truly inexplicable. Researchers discovered strange anomalies etched into the stone itself. Perfectly circular holes drilled deep into the granite, and surfaces that bear the telltale signs of extreme thermal stress. The rock appears melted, vitrified, as if it were flash-fused by a heat beyond comprehension. The expedition's lead researcher, Georgy Sidorov, dared to speculate on radical possibilities: ancient techniques of rock fusion, or perhaps even the scar of a thermonuclear event. These ideas, while controversial, were born from evidence that defied any conventional explanation. What force could inflict such damage? Was it a natural cataclysm of unimaginable power, the signature of some unknown ancient technology, or the devastating aftermath of a conflict that erased an entire civilization from memory? The enigma intensified as the instruments of modern science began to fail. Near the megaliths, the expedition's compasses malfunctioned, their needles spinning erratically, refusing to find north. Sidorov proposed the existence of a powerful, negative geomagnetic field, a lingering disturbance in the Earth's own energy, perhaps a remnant of whatever ancient power source was once active here. Similar geomagnetic anomalies have been recorded at other megalithic sites across the globe, prompting theories that our ancestors possessed a deep understanding of telluric currents and natural forces, a knowledge that we have yet to rediscover. But the secrets of Gornaya Shoria are jealously guarded. The Siberian winter, An unforgiving adversary closed in on the team, its brutal cold and impassable snows cutting the expedition short. They were forced to retreat, leaving the colossal structures behind before any definitive answers could be unearthed. They left with only fragments of an impossible story, clues that hint at a mystery capable of rewriting our entire understanding of the ancient world. If these structures were indeed built by human hands, they represent a completely submerged chapter of our past, a chronicle of a people who possessed skills and knowledge that have been utterly lost to time. But this raises a further, more fundamental question. How could any civilization thrive in such a hostile environment? Why would they choose to settle in the Shaurya Mountains, where the winters bring a lethal, all-encompassing cold? The answer may lie in a forgotten world. During the last ice age, some 20,000 years ago, while much of the northern hemisphere was buried beneath immense sheets of ice, Siberia was different. It was home to the Mammoth Steppe, a vast, cold, arid grassland that served as a refuge for life. It was a world roamed by woolly mammoths, woolly rhinos, and giant deer, providing immense resources for any humans resourceful enough to survive there. And survive they did. Archaeological evidence confirms that ancient humans adapted and thrived in this challenging landscape. Stone tools, exquisitely carved ivory weapons, and the remains of prehistoric hunters have been found across the region, some dating back an astonishing 30,000 years, nearly twice the age of the first known human sites in the Americas. Could the builders of Gornaya Shaurya have been the descendants of these Ice Age survivors? A culture that found a haven in this harsh land and, over millennia, developed a techno. The question of how reverberates from Siberia to the Andes. The precisely fitted walls of Sacsayhuaman and the 1,000-ton stones of Baalbek share a common, silent challenge to our modern assumptions. They ask us to explain how ancient peoples, supposedly with nothing more than primitive tools and brute force, could quarry, transport, and place such massive stones with a precision that we would struggle to replicate today. The stones of Gornaya Shaurya do not offer easy answers. They stand as a silent, colossal question mark, etched into the bedrock of a history we have yet to read. They force us to confront the possibility that our timeline of civilization is incomplete, that great societies may have risen and fallen long before the ones we know, leaving behind only whispers and shadows in stone. They are a profound and humbling reminder that the Earth keeps its oldest secrets well, waiting for a generation willing to see the past not for what we think it was, but for what it might have been. In the unyielding heart of Siberia, far from the arteries of trade and the cradles of known civilizations, lies a profound and unsettling enigma. This is Gornaya Shaurya, a remote mountain range where colossal blocks of granite, some weighing upwards of 3,000 tons, are stacked with an unnerving precision. They stand in silence, a monumental question etched into the D by geography and history, making the mystery of its existence all the more profound. The structures defy simple explanation. We see immense, flat surfaces, sharp, right-angled joints, and parallel walls that seem to mock the chaotic hand of nature. Russian authorities have officially classified the site as a geomorphological anomaly, the result of intricate geological processes of pressure, frost, and erosion. Yet for many who have stood in their shadow, this conclusion feels inadequate, almost dismissive. Can the blind forces of wind and water alone carve with such deliberate geometry? Can tectonic stress, create formations that so closely mirror the work of intelligent design? The stones themselves seem to argue otherwise. Their arrangement whispers of a forgotten knowledge, echoing a pattern seen across the globe. This Siberian anomaly does not stand alone. It is part of a silent, global tapestry of megalithic construction. From the submerged, terraced monoliths off the coast of Yonaguni in Japan, to the impossible interlocking H-blocks of Puma Punku, high in the Bolivian Andes, a single haunting question emerges. Could ancient builders, separated by impassable oceans and millennia of time, have shared a common architectural blueprint? This possibility hints at an ancient network, a web of knowledge connecting cultures we believed were entirely disparate, forcing us to reconsider the very narrative of human migration and development. Such a radical theory inevitably leads to even grander speculation, the idea of a single, common ancestor. A great, pre-flood civilization that existed in a chapter of history long torn from our books. This is a concept that resonates with our oldest and most persistent myths, from the sunken city of Atlantis, described by Plato, to the universal tales of a great deluge that wiped the world clean. Could the Shaurya megaliths be more than just a local anomaly? Could they be the tangible remnants of a world that thrived before a global cataclysm reshaped the planet, a society whose achievements were washed away, leaving only these titanic stone footprints as evidence of their passage? Beyond the academic debate, a more esoteric line of inquiry emerges, one that considers not just who built these structures, but why? What if these were not tombs nor fortresses, but something far more profound? Some theorists point to strange circular holes drilled into the granite with impossible precision, and to sections of the rock that appear melted, vitrified by a heat beyond that of any simple fire. This has given rise to theories that Gornaya Shaurya was once an immense energy center, a machine designed to harness the planet's powerful geomagnetic forces. Perhaps the signs of melting are not accidental, but the scars of a forgotten technology, a form of energy manipulation, or even a defensive weapon that ultimately backfired, leading to the civilization's own destruction. These ideas, while controversial, find a chilling resonance in ancient legends. Tales of cities consumed by fire from the sky, of civilizations lost in sudden, inexplicable cataclysms, are woven into the mythologies of cultures worldwide. The biblical destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, or the epic battles described in the Hindu Vedas, speak of celestial power and terrible ancient weaponry. In the scorched stone of Gornaya Shaurya, some see a potential link, a physical scar that aligns with the psychic trauma of these ancestral stories. For now, the megaliths remain caught in a limbo between myth and geology, between human artifice and natural wonder. Without extensive, impartial archaeological investigation, the truth remains locked in a Siberian silence, entombed beneath permafrost and doubt. But if these stones were indeed shaped by human hands, they represent a fundamental challenge to our understanding of the past. They suggest that our history is not a simple, linear progression, but a story with lost chapters, of persistent stars, but are sometimes buried, waiting beneath our own feet. As the sun bleeds across the horizon of the Gornaya Shaurya mountains, a colossal enigma stands etched against the Siberian sky. Here, megaliths of impossible scale and weight lie in silent judgment, questioning the very foundations of what we believe we know about the dawn of human ingenuity. Are they the last vestiges of a civilization lost to the fog of deep time? or merely the grand, indifferent sculpture of nature's own forces? Until the Earth yields more secrets, this remote corner of Siberia remains a haunting invitation to wonder. Half a world away, beneath a canopy of dense ancient forest on New Zealand's North Island, a similar question echoes through the trees. Hidden within the Kaimanawa wilderness, a structure of profound mystery has ignited a firestorm of debate, challenging the established chronicle of human settlement in this isolated land. It is known as the Kaimanawa Wall. Here, the argument is distilled to its purest form, a stark dichotomy of belief. One school of thought sees only the patient, random hand of geology at work. The other sees the unmistakable signature of intelligent design, massive blocks of stone deliberately placed by the hands of a forgotten people. The wall was thrust into the public consciousness in the early 1990s, brought to light by the work of Barry Brailsford, a historian with an abiding fascination for New Zealand's indigenous lore. Guided by the whispers of local Maori legends, tales of ancient stone constructions swallowed by the forest, Brailsford and a small team ventured into the unforgiving terrain. While their expedition marked its formal discovery, the wall was no secret to those who knew the land intimately. For generations, local hunters and bushmen had walked in its shadow, a strange and silent feature of a landscape they called their own. What they found, and what Brailsford documented, was staggering. Rising to a height of 10 meters, a formidable structure emerges from the forest floor. It is composed of enormous megalithic blocks, their faces smoothed by time, interlocking with an uncanny precision. The stones appear rectangular, meticulously arranged in horizontal courses that speak not of chaos, but of order and intent. The construction evokes a disquieting sense of familiarity, mirroring the Cyclopean masonry of ancient Mycenae in Greece, or the impossibly perfect Inca walls of Sacsayhuaman in Peru. Observers have noted that the stones form a distinct semicircle, hinting that this was never a simple barrier, but perhaps the foundation of a much larger, more significant edifice. The disquieting heart of the Kaimanawa enigma lies not in the stone itself, but in its profound, unnerving silence. A history-tates this wall exists in a vacuum. It is an archaeological orphan. The indigenous Maori, a people of extraordinary navigational and artistic achievement who have inhabited these islands for over 1,000 years, possess a rich cultural history of building with wood and earth. But there is nothing in their vast oral or material record to suggest they ever constructed on this scale with this technique. Their traditions are of the pa, the intricately carved meeting house, not of Cyclopean stone. This void has become a fertile ground for speculation. If not the Maori, then who? Theories have bloomed in the absence of facts, proposing a forgotten, pre-Maori civilization, a people who arrived, built, and vanished, leaving behind only this single, cryptic testament to their existence. Some have claimed the stones were placed here 2,000 years ago, an assertion that, if true, would rewrite the entire history of human migration across the vast Pacific. Yet for every proponent of an ancient builder, there is a geologist offering a more terrestrial explanation. They argue the wall is a natural phenomenon, a dramatic outcropping of ignimbrite rock that has fractured along clean, geometric lines due to natural geological pressures and cooling patterns. They contend that what appears to be meticulous construction is merely a trick of perception, an instance of nature mimicking art, fooling the human eye that is so trained to find patterns in the wild. The Kaimanawa Wall, therefore, is more than a pile of stones. It is a mirror, reflecting our deepest desires to uncover a hidden past and our intellectual commitment to scientific reason. It forces us to confront the boundary between what we see and what we believe, between a history that is recorded and one that is imagined. The blocks remain unyielding and silent, holding their secrets close. They stand as a monument, not to a lost people or a geological quirk, but to the enduring power of mystery itself, a reminder that the earth beneath our feet may yet hold stories more ancient and more astonishing than any we have dared to write. Deep within the untamed heart of New Zealand's North Island, shrouded by dense forest and the silence of ages, lies a formation that challenges the very bedrock of history. When Barry Brailsford and his team first brought word of what they had found, their announcement was not met with celebration, but with a wall of academic skepticism. The structure, which came to be known as the Kaimanawa Wall, was immediately cast into the crucible of scientific debate. For the geological community, the explanation was as old as the land itself. They saw not the hand of man, but the immense, impersonal artistry of nature. The stones, they argued, were the result of fiery volcanic activity, immense blocks of ignimbrite rock forged in the Earth's core and laid down millions of years ago. The passage of time, with its relentless agents of erosion and the slow, grinding pressure of geological faulting, had simply fractured this natural deposit, creating the uncanny illusion of a man-made construction. It was a compelling narrative of elemental forces, a story of a planet shaping itself. But this tidy explanation failed to capture the public imagination. For many, the sight of these colossal, seemingly dressed stones, arranged in neat courses, was too deliberate, too intentional to be a mere accident of geology. Amateur archaeologists and alternative historians began to whisper of other possibilities, of forgotten chapters in the human story. The heart of the enigma lies in the sheer precision and scale of the stonework. The blocks are monolithic, measuring up to 2 meters in length, a meter in height, and a meter deep. Some are estimated to weigh several tons, a silent testament to immense effort. The largest of these stones are comparable in size to those used to build Stonehenge on the Salisbury Plain, or even the Great Pyramid of Giza. This comparison alone ignited speculation. Such masses could not be moved by chance or by a small, unorganized group. They demanded either a technology far beyond what was thought to exist in ancient New Zealand, or the coordinated, disciplined labor of a vast workforce. As skepticism from some quarters continued, the discovery spurred further exploration into the surrounding wilderness. What emerged from beneath the forest floor only deepened the mystery. Investigators uncovered additional stone formations, features that hinted at a far larger, more complex structure buried by millennia of soil and vegetation. There appeared to be terraces, methodically carved into the hillside. There were signs of what could only be described as steps. These were features that strained the limits of natural explanation, their geometry suggesting purpose and design. Then came the discovery of its orientation. The structure is aligned almost perfectly with the cardinal points of the compass, its longest face oriented to the north. For a growing number of researchers, this was no coincidence. This was the signature of intent, a potential link to astronomical observation or ceremonial purpose. This deliberate alignment, when combined with the wall's monumental scale and precision, drew parallels with other great megalithic sites scattered across the globe, fueling theories of a lost, sophisticated culture that once thrived in these remote islands. The sheer weight of the evidence, both literal and figurative, is staggering. The average block is estimated to weigh between 3 and 5 tons. To place this in perspective, the average block used to construct the Great Pyramid weighs approximately 2.5 tons. While the sarcens of Stonehenge reach a colossal 30 tons, the stones of Kaimanawa remain formidable, particularly in a land with no archaeological record of large-scale quarrying or megalithic construction in its pre-colonial history. The question echoes through the silent trees. Who could have done this, and how? The Kaimanawa Wall stands as more than a geological curiosity or a potential archaeological site. It is a question etched into the landscape, a silent challenge to the established narrative. It forces us to confront the possibility that the past is not as settled as we believe, that there may be entire civilizations sleeping beneath our feet, their stories waiting for the moment they can finally be told. Deep within the dense, untamed forests of New Zealand's North Island, a profound enigma lies hidden. It is a structure of immense stone, a wall that seems to defy the very landscape in which it rests. The sheer mass and weight of its constituent blocks raise immediate, unsettling questions. In this remote wilderness, far from the reach of modern machinery, how were these megaliths moved? How were they lifted and set into place with such apparent care? The forest itself, a formidable barrier of tangled roots and unforgiving terrain, deepens the mystery, offering no easy answers about the tools or technologies that could have possibly been employed. This is the genesis of a controversy, a geological and historical puzzle that has ignited a firestorm of debate. From the moment of its discovery, the Kaimanawa Wall has become a canvas upon which a multitude of theories have been painted, each attempting to explain the very nature of its existence. The puzzle is compounded by a glaring absence. There are no obvious quarries in the vicinity. The source of these massive andesite blocks remains unknown, leaving a critical void in the story. We are left to wonder not only how they were assembled, but from where they were even brought. One of the most compelling and contentious of these theories speaks of a forgotten time. It suggests the wall is not a product of nature, but the last surviving evidence of a pre-Maori civilization, a culture possessing an advanced and sophisticated knowledge of stone construction. Proponents of this idea see more than just a wall. They envision the ruins of a sacred temple, the foundations of a mighty fortress, or a monument built by a lost people whose history has been erased by time. It is a narrative that challenges the established timeline of human settlement in these islands, hinting at a chapter of history yet to be written. Yet, where some see the hand of man, mainstream geology offers a different architect: the Earth itself. The scientific consensus points to a natural process known as columnar jointing. This phenomenon occurs deep within the planet's crust, when a thick flow of lava cools and contracts with geometric predictability. As the molten rock solidifies, it fractures, often forming spectacular hexagonal or rectangular columns that can appear to the untrained eye to be artificially hewn and stacked. This explanation elegantly accounts. But this geological explanation, however sound, fails to satisfy everyone. For many observers, the feature that most strongly suggests intelligent design is its remarkable precision. They point to the clean lines, the tight-fitting joints, and the consistent alignment of the stones. To them, this is not the random cracking of cooling rock, but the deliberate work of a mason. They argue that nature, in all its power, rarely achieves such a degree of order. The wall, they insist, bears the unmistakable signature of human involvement. Determining the age of the structure has proven to be an almost insurmountable challenge. The gold standard of archaeology, radiocarbon dating, is useless here. That technique requires organic material, wood, bone, or charcoal left behind by its builders. The Kaimanawa wall offers none. It is a silent monolith of stone, devoid of the biological markers that could betray its true age. Without this direct evidence, researchers are forced to rely on indirect and less certain methods. They study the geological dating of the surrounding volcanic rock and meticulously examine the weathering patterns etched into the stones by centuries of wind and rain, hoping to coax a timeline from the slow erosion. These indirect methods have yielded a spectrum of possibilities. Some researchers, aligning with the pre-Maori civilization theory, have proposed that the wall could be several thousand years old, a relic from an era long before the arrival of the first Polynesian canoes around 1,000 years ago. Others argue for a much younger age, suggesting the natural geological processes that formed it could have occurred within the last few millennia. Perhaps the most intriguing theory transcends the simple question of who built it and asks instead, why? Some have noted the wall's curious alignment with the cardinal points. This, combined with its perceived precision, has led to the hypothesis that it was never a wall of defense or dwelling, but part of an ancient ceremonial or astronomical site. In this interpretation, the structure becomes a silent celestial clock, built to observe and mark the passage of cosmic events, the solstices, the equinoxes. This would place it in the hallowed company of other megalithic sites around the world, from Stonehenge to Newgrange, monuments believed to have served as ancient observatories, connecting humanity to the heavens. Ultimately, the stones of the Kaimanawa wall keep their secrets. They stand as a monument not to a confirmed history, but to the power of mystery itself. They force us to confront the boundaries between the natural and the artificial, between geological accident and human intent. The wall is a mirror, reflecting our own deep-seated need to find pattern in chaos, to seek out stories in the silent language of the earth, and to wonder if the past we know is the only one that was ever lived. Deep within the untamed heart of New Zealand's North Island, hidden by a dense shroud of forest and the passage of forgotten centuries, lies an enigma etched in stone. Here, the earth itself seems to pose a question. Could this wall, a formation of immense, seemingly dressed blocks, be a deliberate work of defense? A fortress guarding a sacred site or a lost settlement? The theory is compelling. Its location is a natural redoubt, a place of strategic advantage where the very difficulty of access becomes a form of protection. Its sheer vertical faces and imposing scale speak not of geology's slow, random artistry, but of purpose. It suggests a bastion against a forgotten enemy, a boundary erected to separate the known from the unknown, the sanctified from the profane. In a landscape of rolling hills and volcanic plains, such a structure would have been a declaration of power, a sentinel watching over silent valleys. Yet for every argument for defense, another more prosaic possibility emerges. Stripped of its military context, the wall reveals another character. Its form is one of remarkable, almost unnatural linearity, a straight line drawn through a chaotic landscape. This has led some to envision it not as a barrier, but as a conduit, a remnant of an ancient roadway or perhaps a causeway engineered to traverse the formidable forest. One can almost imagine it as a vital artery, a path for commerce, for pilgrimage, for armies on the march, connecting disparate points in a world we can no longer see. It hints at a society with the need and the means to tame the wilderness, to impose order upon the land. But here the trail of evidence runs cold, and the true mystery begins. The Kaimanawa Wall stands utterly alone. In the vast tapestry of Polynesian stonework, there is Moai of Rapa Nui, staring out at the endless ocean, the sacred marae of Tahiti, platforms for ritual and communion with the gods. These are magnificent achievements, yet they speak a different architectural language. They are born of a distinct cultural heritage, one that does not seem to account for the megalithic, almost cyclopean style found in the Kaimanawa forest. This profound anomaly forces the inquiry beyond the shores of New Zealand, beyond the known horizons of Polynesian navigation. If the answer is not found in the immediate cultural vicinity, then the search must cross oceans. Speculation turns to the possibility of a forgotten migration, of a cultural exchange that predates the established narrative. Whispers of ancient mariners from as far afield as South America or Southeast Asia, carrying with them a different knowledge of engineering, a different vision of the world. The wall, in this light, becomes a potential artifact of contact, a single baffling clue to a chapter of human history that has been entirely erased. From here, the path of inquiry ventures from the shores of archaeology into the deep, mythic waters of lost continents. Some have dared to link the wall to the legends of Mu or Lemuria, hypothetical motherlands said to have vanished beneath the Pacific in a great cataclysm. Proponents of this theory see the wall not as the work of a local culture, but as a surviving fragment of a highly advanced global civilization. In their view, these stones are an epitaph for a world lost beneath the waves, a civilization so utterly destroyed that only a few scattered and inexplicable ruins remain to testify to its existence. And then, a more tangible, though no less startling, parallel appears. Half a world away, beneath the waters off the coast of Japan, lies the Yonaguni Monument, a submerged structure of monolithic right-angled geometry. Its terraces and steps appear carved with a precision that's seen ranged in a manner that strongly suggests intelligent design. The similarities are uncanny, prompting theories of a shared cultural or technological origin. They evoke a distant epoch, a time when sea levels were drastically lower and the map of the world was drawn differently. A time when land bridges may have connected regions we now see as impossibly remote. The mystery, however, does not exist in isolation. The surrounding lands of the central North Island hold their own secrets. Researchers have discovered petroglyphs and strange carvings etched into rock faces in the deep wilderness. They depict haunting humanoid figures with elongated limbs and strange heads, alongside symbols that bear no resemblance to the elegant flowing lines of Maori artistry. They feel older, alien. Are these the faces of the wall builders? A self-portrait of a pre-Maori culture, the very people responsible for the stone enigma that now baffles the modern world? The stones of Kaimanawa offer no easy answers. They stand as a silent rebuke to the neat timelines of history, a geological anomaly or an archaeological impossibility. They force us to confront the boundaries of our knowledge, to question the stories we tell ourselves about the past. Each theory From the fortress to the lost continent, is a reflection of our own search for meaning in a landscape of profound silence. The wall remains, a testament to the unsettling and powerful possibility that we know far less about our own planet's story than we believe. The forest keeps its counsel, and the wall waits, guarding a history whose beginning has been forgotten and whose end is yet to be written. In the vast, wind-swept badlands of Montana, where the Earth itself seems to hold its breath, lies a feature that defies simple geologic explanation. It is a scar on the landscape, a silent testament to a time beyond human memory. Officially, it is explained away as a dike, a simple intrusion of volcanic rock. But to those who have stood before it, who have traced its strange and orderly lines, that label feels inadequate, a convenient story for a structure that whispers of a deeper, more complex past. And one. A team of paleontologists from the University of Montana, led by the esteemed Dr. Sarah Johnson, had spent another grueling day under the relentless sun. They were working a known dinosaur fossil site within the famed Judith River Formation, their tools and minds focused on the bones of creatures dead for millions of years. As the day waned and the long shadows of the Cretaceous hills began to stretch across the plains, they began the trek back to their base camp. It was then that one of the team, Dr. Mark Stevens, paused. His eye, trained to see patterns in the chaos of rock and time, had caught something anomalous on a distant hillside, a formation partially exposed, yet possessing an unnerving sense of order. Drawn by a professional curiosity that bordered on compulsion, the team diverted their course. As they drew closer, exhaustion gave way to a surge of adrenaline. This was no ordinary outcropping. What they had stumbled upon was an extraordinary fossil-rich wall, a library of stone rising from the earth. It stands today in a guarded location, its precise coordinates a closely held secret to protect it from the ravages of souvenir hunters and vandals. We know only that it is situated near the timeless flow of the Missouri River, a picturesque backdrop that does little to soften the profound mystery of the site. To see it is to understand the awe it inspires, to feel the weight of an enigma that has settled deep into the bedrock of North America. The wall is a relic from the late Cretaceous period, a chapter of Earth's history written approximately 75 million years ago. This was an era of profound transformation. A warm greenhouse climate prevailed, and high sea levels had drowned the continents. The very ground on which the wall now sits was then the western shore of a vast inland sea, the Western Interior Seaway, which split the continent into two landmasses, the island continent of Laramidia to the west and Appalachia to the east. This immense seaway was the engine of the region's ecology, its waters teeming with marine reptiles, its shores patrolled by the last and greatest of the dinosaurs. The wall's very substance is a chronicle of this lost world, forged from sandstone and mudstone. These are the lithified sediments of ancient rivers that once flowed from mountains long since eroded, carrying silt and sand and the bones of the dead into the great seaway. Over millions of years, the immense pressure of accumulating layers compressed these deposits, cementing them into the solid rock we see today. As a structure, it is breathtaking. It rises some 50 feet from the prairie floor and stretches for a length of 200 feet, a colossal rampart of stone. The individual blocks within it are a chaotic puzzle, varying wildly in size, with some monolithic pieces weighing several tons. Geologists theorize these massive stones were transported by primordial river systems of unimaginable power, moved by cataclysmic floods that reshaped the very landscape. And yet, the questions remain. The arrangement, the composition, the sheer presence of the wall, it challenges the comfortable narrative of random geological processes. It is a formation that appears both entirely natural and profoundly unnatural, a paradox written in stone. This wall is more than a geological curiosity or a paleontological treasure trove. It is a question posed by deep time, a silent challenge to our own understanding. It reminds us that the ground beneath our feet is not a static stage, but a layered, ever-shifting manuscript, and that some of its most profound chapters remain untranslated, waiting for a moment of chance and an eye willing to see past the obvious. In the vast, wind-swept landscapes of Montana, a structure rises from the earth that defies easy explanation. It is known as the Sage Wall. At first glance, the impression is undeniable, almost jarring. The precise, orderly layering of stone seems to speak of human hands, of a fortress built by an ancient, forgotten people. The mind recoils from the idea of nature crafting something so deliberate. It evokes a primal sense of disbelief, a feeling that this must be more than a geological accident, perhaps even the work of giants from a mythical age. But the truth, as revealed by science, is a story far grander and more ancient than any myth. The Sage Wall is not a castle, but a library of stone, its pages written over millions of years by the slow, patient artistry of deep time. Geologists who study its composition find no evidence of mortar or masonry. Instead, they see the orderly deposition of sediments, laid down layer by patient layer in the bed of an ancient sea. They identify the natural cementing minerals that, under immense pressure and over eons, fused loose sand and silt into solid rock. The wall is a masterpiece, but its architect was nature itself, a profound testament to the power of geological processes to create patterns that mimic intelligent design. Yet this wall is more than just a geological curiosity. It is a mausoleum, for within these seemingly impassive layers, an entire lost world lies in wait. A world from the late Cretaceous period. The site is a paleontological treasure containing one of the highest concentrations of dinosaur fossils ever discovered. It is a window looking back across 70 million years to an ecosystem teeming with life. Here, the great herbivores of the age left their legacy. The remains of hadrosaurs, the duck-billed dinosaurs, are found in abundance, their bones and teeth scattered throughout the strata. One of the most significant discoveries is a nearly complete skeleton of a juvenile hadrosaur, a poignant snapshot of a young life cut short, offering invaluable data on their growth and development. Alongside them are the fossils of the formidable horned dinosaurs, the ceratopsians. Fragmented skulls, powerful horns, and grinding teeth whisper of herds of these armored titans grazing on the lush Cretaceous flora. The predators of this world are also entombed here. The discovery of theropods, including relatives of the fearsome Tyrannosaurus rex, has deepened the site's significance. Their fossilized bones and serrated teeth are clues that help scientists reconstruct the brutal ballet of predator and prey, mapping the evolutionary relationships that shaped these carnivorous dynasties. But perhaps the most revolutionary find within the Sage Wall is something far more delicate. Paleontologists unearthed the fossilized remains of a small theropod dinosaur, and with it, the unmistakable imprint of feathers. This singular discovery is a Rosetta Stone for dinosaur evolution, providing concrete proof that feathers were not exclusive to birds. It contributes to a radical rethinking of what once separated ancient reptile from modern bird. The chronicle of the Sage Wall is not limited to the animal kingdom. The stone also preserves the world they inhabited. Well-preserved leaves, seeds, and petrified wood reveal the botany of this lost era. They tell of a lush, subtropical environment, a landscape of meandering rivers and dense forests, where the air was thick with the scent of damp earth and strange blossoms. It was a world fundamentally different from the Montana of today, a vibrant green paradise that now exists only as a fossilized memory. The Sage Wall, therefore, presents a profound duality. It is a monument born of mindless geological force, yet it appears as a work of deliberate creation. It is a tomb of stone, yet it speaks more vividly of life than any living landscape could. It forces us to confront the immense scale of time and the astonishing power of the natural world to both build and to preserve. Each fossil pulled from its embrace is not merely a bone, but a character in an epic story, a silent testament to the worlds that rise and fall long before our own brief story began. The landscape of modern-day Montana, a vast expanse of semi-arid plains, is a ghost of its former self. To stand here in the late Cretaceous was to stand in a world unrecognizable, a humid subtropical realm teeming with life. This ancient environment was a verdant tapestry woven from towering conifers, dense undergrowth of ferns, and the revolutionary new beauty of flowering plants. It was a world that provided not just sustenance, but sanctuary for a breathtaking assembly of herbivorous giants and the formidable carnivores that hunted them. In the silent rock of this transformed land, paleontologists find windows into that lost world. One such window is the Sage Wall, a site that invites comparison with other legendary fossil beds. North, across the border in Alberta, Canada, lies the famed Dinosaur Provincial Park. Both locations are rich archives of the late Cretaceous, each a crucial chapter in the final act of the dinosaurs' reign. Yet they tell different stories. Dinosaur Provincial Park is a grand theater of diversity, a staggering census of species that populated this ancient delta. The Sage Wall, however, speaks in a more intimate whisper. Its renown comes not from the breadth of its cast, but from the astonishing clarity of their remains. Fossils preserved with an almost impossible fidelity, capturing the most delicate details of bone and life. A similar contrast emerges when measured against another Montana giant, the Hell Creek Formation. Hell Creek is the stuff of legend, a necropolis of icons. It is here that the titans of the age, the iconic Tyrannosaurus Rex and the noble Triceratops, waged their final battles. It presents a world of epic struggle and scale. But again, the Sage Wall distinguishes itself. While Hell Creek chronicles the lives of these famous adults, the Sage Wall offers something more profound, evidence of their beginnings. It is a place not of titans, but of nurseries. This unique contribution, this focus on the preservation of life's most fragile moments, sets it apart, highlighting how each site provides a unique and indispensable piece of a prehistoric puzzle. From this exceptional preservation, a compelling theory has taken root. The Sage Wall may have been more than just a habitat. It may have been a vital nesting ground, a maternity ward for entire species. The evidence is as subtle as it is profound. Scientists have unearthed the ghostly outlines of nesting sites, unearthed delicate, curved fragments of eggshell, and, most poignantly, discovered the fragile bones of juvenile dinosaurs, some barely hatched. The presence of these fossils paints a vivid picture of a primeval sanctuary. The abundant vegetation, the very foundation of this ecosystem, offered more than just food. It provided a protective cloak, a dense labyrinth of foliage where the young could hide from the ever-watchful eyes of predators. This theory does not merely add a new location to the map. It opens a window into the very heart of dinosaur existence, their reproductive behavior, their parental instincts, and the complex life cycles that governed their 70-million-year dynasty. To understand the full scope of this lost world, our journey must take us north, into the Badlands of Alberta. Here, approximately 48 kilometers from the town of Brooks, the Red Deer River has carved a masterpiece of erosion, Dinosaur Provincial Park. Designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1979, the park is a global touchstone, celebrated not only for its staggering paleontological significance, but for its stark, alien beauty. The rock formations here are a geological diary, with pages dating back 75 to 77 million years, chronicling the twilight of an empire. The landscape is a layered chronicle of time, a tapestry of sandstones, shales, and mudstones. Each layer was laid down by the slow, patient work of ancient rivers and deltas that once dominated this region. These waterways were the arteries of the late Cretaceous world, giving life and, in death, providing the perfect conditions for burial and fossilization. They created this rich geological setting, entombing the remains of countless creatures in a silent stone embrace. To walk through these canyons is to walk through the sediment of a forgotten ocean of time. The rocks are not silent. They speak of worlds built and worlds erased, of the relentless cycles of life and extinction. They remind us that the ground beneath our feet is not merely earth, but a library of stories, holding the memory of creatures so magnificent they challenge the limits of our imagination, leaving us to wonder at our own fleeting moment on this ancient and ever-changing stage. In the Badlands of Alberta, Canada, the earth has been peeled back layer by layer to reveal a lost world. This is not a landscape of imagination, but a library of stone, its pages filled with the chronicles of an age when giants walked the planet. Dinosaur Provincial Park, a name that barely captures the sheer scale of its paleontological wealth, stands as one of the richest fossil locales on Earth. From this single sun-scorched valley, more than 500 major dinosaur specimens have been carefully exhumed, their colossal skeletons now forming the centerpieces of museums across the globe. Here, the late Cretaceous period is not a distant abstraction. It is a tangible reality. The remains of over 40 distinct species of dinosaur have been unearthed, a staggering census of a bygone era. This was a world teeming with life, a complex tapestry of predator and prey. Heat herbivores of their time filled the forests, and shadowing them all were the apex carnivores, the tyrannosaurids, whose fossilized teeth still carry the serrated promise of a lethal bite. Beyond the dinosaurs, the story deepens. The rocks whisper of other, more subtle lives, ancient fish navigating forgotten rivers, turtles basking on primeval shores, and the first furtive mammals, small creatures living in the shadow of the titans. 75 million years ago, this arid expanse was a lush, subtropical coastal plain. Great rivers meandered towards a vast inland sea, their floodplains bursting with a diversity of plant life that we now know only from delicate impressions left in stone. The climate was a world away from the harsh seasons of modern Alberta. It was warmer, more humid, a greenhouse world that fueled an explosion of biodiversity. But the park's most profound secret lies not in individual skeletons, but in its bone beds. These are sprawling, chaotic fields of death, containing the jumbled remains of entire herds. The Centrosaurus bone bed, a single layer of rock, holds the fossils of hundreds of individuals, a catastrophic tableau frozen in time. It is a chilling snapshot of a mass mortality event, perhaps a herd caught in a flash flood, their panic and demise preserved for millennia. It is here, in this graveyard of giants, that we come closest to understanding the raw, untamed forces that governed this ancient kingdom. Yet some lost worlds leave behind more than bone. They leave an echo, a presence that defies scientific explanation. Far across the globe, in the remote wilderness of Russia's Karelia Republic, rises a mountain that seems to operate by different laws. This is Votavara. Locals call it Death Mountain. Here, an unsettling silence reigns, a profound emptiness that seems to absorb all sound. Life, as we know it, appears to have fled. The trees do not grow, they writhe. Their trunks twist into impossible, tormented shapes, their skeletal branches clawing at a sky that offers no comfort. They are monuments to a silent, unseen agony, their forms a defiance of logic and biology. Scattered across this desolate landscape are thousands of ancient stones, known as setas. Massive boulders, some weighing many tons, are perched precariously atop smaller stones, arranged with an intention that feels both ancient and alien. Were they placed here by the unimaginable force of a retreating glacier, or by the deliberate hands of a forgotten, the ghostly outlines of ruins emerge, the faint footprint of a lost civilization that vanished into the mists of time. Who were these people who chose to live, or to worship, in such an unforgiving place? What knowledge did they possess? On the shores of a nearby lake, the mystery deepens. Ancient rock carvings, petroglyphs, whisper tales from a time before written history. Strange, otherworldly figures and cryptic symbols are etched into the very fabric of the mountain. They are tantalizing clues, a fragmented language from a world utterly disconnected from our own. Votavara poses a profound question. Is it a unique geological anomaly, a testament to the raw power of nature and the human imagination's need to find meaning in chaos? Or is it something more, a sacred place where the veil between worlds is thin, an ancient portal to a different kind of past? From the fossilized certainty of a dinosaur's reign to the unnerving ambiguity of a haunted mountain, the Earth holds its memories in countless forms. Some are stories we can read with the tools of science, piecing together bone and stone to reconstruct a physical past. Others remain as whispers on the wind, mysteries that speak not to our intellect, but to a deeper, more primal sense of wonder and dread. They remind us that, for all we have unearthed, the planet's deepest secrets are those it chooses to keep. In the heart of Karelia, where the boreal forests stretch into a green eternity, lies a landscape shrouded in whispers. This is Votavara, a rugged eminence that was once the sacred ground of ancient Finland. For millennia, Its granite slopes were revered by the Sami tribes and their shamans, the ancestral forebears of the modern Finns. They sensed in the wind and stone a power that transcended the mundane world, a spiritual nexus where the veil between realms was thin. Today, that same power continues to exert its pull, drawing those who seek to comprehend phenomena that defy simple explanation. The ascent of Vuottavaara is a journey not merely of elevation, but of perception. It begins in the familiar embrace of dense pine and fir, a world governed by the known laws of nature. But soon, the landscape begins to shed its normalcy. The forest itself seems to contort, as if in the grip of some unseen elemental force. Trees, which should reach for the sky, instead spiral upon themselves, their trunks caught in a silent, petrified torsion. Branches, heavy with an invisible weight, curve unnaturally downward, clawing back toward the earth they sprang from, forming a gallery of eerie organic sculptures that challenge the very logic of biology. Higher still, at the wind-swept summit, another anomaly presents itself. Here, no tree is more than a few decades old. It is a forest perpetually reborn, suggesting a force that periodically scours the peak, resetting the cycle of life. The landscape is frozen in a state of endless, unsettling renewal, a silent testament to a power that will not allow anything to grow old. This visual strangeness is amplified by an almost supernatural silence. It is a profound and heavy quiet, an absence of sound so complete it becomes a presence in itself. No birdsong pierces the air, no creatures scurry through the undergrowth. The pristine lakes, that lack of life, has earned the mountain a chilling local moniker, Death Mountain. Yet its forbidding reputation has not deterred the curious. It remains a magnet for explorers, spiritual seekers, and those drawn to the deep enigmas of the past. For the strangeness of Vuottavaara is not confined to its twisted flora and profound silence. Scattered across its terrain are approximately 1,600 massive stones, known to the ancients as sides. They are not random geological debris. They are arranged in deliberate, almost intelligent formations. For the Sami, these were not mere rocks. Each sade was a sacred vessel, a representation of a nature spirit or a guardian of the earth. They are found balanced with impossible delicacy upon smaller stones, creating the illusion that they are floating, hovering just inches above the ground. Their immense weight, tons of solid granite, seems to defy the very gravity that should hold them fast. Orthodox science offers a terrestrial explanation: the slow, inexorable movement of glaciers during the last ice age, depositing these boulders as the ice receded. But this theory falters under the weight of sheer probability. Could a blind, chaotic force of grinding ice and meltwater achieve such delicate artistry, not once, but 1,600 times over? Could it so perfectly balance these megaliths in such precarious, seemingly intentional positions? If not ice, then who? The question opens a chasm of speculation. If these stones were placed by human hands, it forces us to reconsider the capabilities of ancient peoples. The delicate balance implies a profound understanding of physics and engineering, ensuring the immense weight of the side did not crush the smaller supporting rocks. It suggests a placement of immense care and purpose. Could a forgotten civilization have possessed knowledge or tools far beyond our current understanding? And what was their purpose? Were these stones celestial markers, altars for forgotten rites, or nodes in a complex spiritual map laid across the mountain's face. Among the formations, one stands out, a structure known as the well. Local lore holds that this is no natural feature, but an ancient man-made reservoir. Its stone blocks are hewn into rectangular shapes, their lines too precise to be the work of erosion. Though centuries of weathering have cracked and deformed the stones, one can still discern the remnants of meticulous interlocking joints, a clear fingerprint of human craftsmanship. Botavara offers no easy answers. It remains a silent sentinel, guarding its secrets within its twisted trees and balanced stones. It is a place where the line between geology and archaeology, between nature and intention, blurs into an inscrutable mystery. The mountain does not speak, but it forces us to question, to wonder about the world that came before ours. It stands as a testament not to what we know, but to the profound and humbling depths of what we have forgotten. Echoes of this ancient design resonate far beyond the Karelian forests. In the heart of Bulgaria, at the sacred sanctuary of Perperikon, a similar vessel is carved from the living rock. For millennia, it has channeled water through a network of intricate grooves, a testament to a hydraulic knowledge that has outlasted empires. It forces a profound question. Could the well at Votavara be a single note in a forgotten symphony, a hint of a broader, lost understanding that once spanned the breadth of ancient Europe? If so, by what means did these builders, separated by vast distances and the chasm of time, share such sophisticated techniques? What forgotten pathways connected their worlds? Scattered among the megaliths, other enigmas lie in wait. Smooth, oval stone spheres, some resting on natural pedestals, as if placed there by a deliberate hand. Their surfaces, though worn by countless seasons of ice and rain, are clearly the product of craft, not chance. They are unsettlingly familiar, resembling finds from two corners of the globe that could not be more distant. They echo the mysterious spheres unearthed near the Bosnian pyramids, and more strikingly, the more than 300 perfect orbs discovered deep within the jungles of Costa Rica. Their purpose is a void in our understanding. Were they instruments of forgotten rituals, celestial calendars tracking the movements of the sun and stars? Or were they something more fundamental, symbols of a lost knowledge, a common thread connecting disparate peoples across oceans and continents? The startling similarities between these objects, found in such far-flung sites, suggest a web of connection that modern science has yet to untangle, leaving a tantalizing and persistent mystery etched in stone. Beyond the seeds, the spheres, and the well, Votavara reveals structures that more forcefully challenge natural explanations. Here, emerging from the rugged terrain, are what appear to be the remains of ancient stairs. The stones that form these steps are hewn with an unnatural geometry, their faces smoothed and squared, fitting together with a precision that seems utterly artificial. It is a staircase leading nowhere, a fragment of a lost narrative, perhaps the last vestige of a much larger, vanished complex that once crowned this summit. While some geologists propose these are mere tricks of erosion, the result of frost heaving and natural fracturing, visitors who walk these grounds often leave with the unshakable impression that the mountain holds its secrets close, defying all simple explanations. Elsewhere, another curious ruin reinforces this sense of a lost civilization. It resembles a prehistoric wall, composed of immense, squared stone blocks that interlock with uncanny accuracy. Though time has weathered their surfaces, The blocks retain the ghost of their original smoothness, a silent testament to a sophisticated and powerful craftsman taking their knowledge and their techniques with them into the mists of history. The mysteries here extend beyond the physical structures, beyond even the mountain itself. On the eastern bank of Lake Onega, the second largest lake in Europe, another chapter of this ancient story is written. Here, carved into the granite cliffs that rise from the water's edge, are the Onega petroglyphs, an immense gallery of over 1,200 individual carvings. Their age is estimated at a staggering 5,000 to 6,000 years. But their true genius lies not in their age or number, but in their deliberate and breathtaking interplay with the cosmos. They use the very light of the sun and the shadow of the earth to transform these cliffs into a prehistoric canvas, a dynamic theater that shifts with the setting sun. During the harsh light of day, the carvings are nearly invisible, phantoms that blend seamlessly into the rough, mottled surface of the rock. But as the sun begins its slow descent toward the horizon, a profound transformation occurs. The granite itself begins to blush, turning a deep, spectral red in the fading light. And from this crimson stone, the images emerge. Swans, hunters, and otherworldly beings with haunting faces appear in stark, dramatic relief, illuminated for a fleeting moment in a stunning natural display. It is as if the ancient artists chose this specific place, this specific stone, to bring their visions to life, harnessing the power of nature's own light. The imagery of the Onega petroglyphs is as enigmatic as Votovara itself, a silent language from a world we can no longer read. These are not just pictures on a rock. They are an appointment with time, a message designed to be received only when the world turns from light to shadow. They are a reminder that what is hidden is not always lost, and that some truths wait patiently in the darkness for our eyes to finally adjust. On the shores of Lake Onega, a different story is emanated by the graceful forms of swans, etched with a precision that suggests a deep and abiding reverence. Yet one figure eclipses all others, a being of impossible scale. Its rectangular body and oversized square head stretch over 2.5 meters. Carved into the living rock, it gazes out over the dark water, a silent sentinel believed by its Neolithic creators to be a spiritual gateway to the netherworld. Centuries passed. A new faith arrived, carrying a new symbol and a new fear. Christian monks, seeing not a guardian, but a devil, took their chisels to the ancient stone. Over the pagan effigy, they carved a 7-pointed orthodox cross, a violent act of cultural and spiritual erasure. But the spirit of the mountain, Votovara, would not be silenced. Its allure endures, drawing pilgrims to walk among its twisted trees and enigmatic formations. They come to meditate, to connect with an energy that seems to hum beneath the surface, pondering if this is a relic of a lost civilization, where ancient knowledge intersects with unexplained natural forces. This same impulse to shape the earth echoes with even greater force deep within the remote mountains of Siberia. Here in Gornaya Shoria lies an enigma of a different order. Astonishing ruins composed of immense granite blocks, some weighing an estimated 3,000 tons. They are titans of stone, potentially the largest megaliths ever discovered. The questions hang heavy in the Siberian air. Could these be the remnants of a prehistoric construction, evidence of a civilization lost to the great tides of history. From the defaced guardians of the lake to the silent giants of the mountains, these landscapes challenge our understanding of the ancient world. They are either anomalies of nature, their reputations shaped by centuries of human wonder, or they are the last vestiges of a past far grander and more mysterious than we have ever dared to imagine.